Hello railway enthusiasts! Welcome to this video. We will be riding part of the High Country Rail Trail, which was once formerly the Cudgewa Railway Line. We are sort of on the outskirts of Tallangatta, Victoria. We will be riding from here and we will be going to Old Tallangatta. We're starting the video where we started the previous part of this video that we did like a year and a half ago, except last time we went towards Wodonga. Now we're actually spinning around going back towards Old Tallangatta. So we're going to be seeing some railway remnants. We're going to be seeing some cows and mountains and grass. So stay tuned, get your popcorn, get your railway related literature, and let's go. But read the literature after this video because I want you to watch. We will be joined by the amazing Huon. Hi. That's looking towards Wodonga. That's looking towards Cudgewa. Okay, let's go! Hey! Ah! Looking towards Cudgewa, just down here in front of these wonderful bovines, we have the crunchy remains of an original milestone, 205 miles away from Spencer Street. Is that in kilometers or miles, guys? Let me know in the comments below.
It is hollow.
Check out this wonderful railway cutting.
This is absolutely incredible.
Looking towards Cudgewa, down here we've got a secret railway remnant. The tracks were ripped up many years ago, but you can see here that a farmer has used some of the old train track to build a fence post. So look, there's still railway remnants here.
Which just makes it quite interesting.
That's looking towards Wodonga. Right here we've got a sign with some of the history here. It's talking about how the train line was realigned when they raised the dam wall, thus flooding the old alignment. So you can see there's a map which shows the original alignment and the current alignment we are on now.
Ah, the Serenity.
Ah, the Serenity! We got the Murray Valley Highway here, the quote-unquote new train alignment, even though it's closed. And then right next to it, you've got the remnants of the even older train alignment. There would have been a trestle bridge here, and you can see the embankment where the train line would have ran across. There's another car. Shh. We are now approaching Tallangatta. As you can see, we've got the new alignment there, and over here on the left, we've got the remnants of the old alignment, complete with dilapidated wooden trestle bridge. You can see the old bridge and the railway cutting where the line used to go. Old bridge over there. Right here we've got the new concrete bridge. On the Tallangatta side of the bridge, if you look really closely in the bitumen, there's actually the remnants of an old wooden sleeper. That's looking towards Tallangatta. We've got like a little remnant here that would have held down a telephone pole / power pole that would have been line side at one point in time, but obviously doesn't exist anymore. That is looking back towards Wodonga. People come here and sit and look at the amazing view, but that is so boring in comparison to this original brick culvert that is still here all these years later. This is absolutely incredible. Remnants. We are now entering the outskirts of Tallangatta. I'm aware this is extremely gunzel, but underneath the quote-unquote new bridge, you can see the pylons that would have once held up the old trestle bridge. When this was an active train line, there would have been ballast and tracks on here. So the roadbed would have been a little bit higher. So I'm sort of standing in the ground right now, if that makes sense. If you railway enthusiasts ever actually riding along this rail trail, you can spend the night here at the showgrounds. You can camp here for a small fee. There's toilets and showers and everything you could ever want. The horses! You look gorgeous. You gotta keep a keen eye when you're a gunzel. Check this out. In the old railway embankment, we have an old dog spike or a pin type thing, and I'm gonna leave that right where I found it, so other people can have a look at that when they explore the rail trail. If I was to take that, I'd be taking a piece of history. Which wouldn't be good, would it, guys? Because we all want to enjoy history. I'll just walk away, okay. Here we have a bridge that went over the old train line. To the eagle-eyed Gunzel, you'll notice the soot build-up that was deposited there from locomotives thundering underneath this bridge for many years, and it's still there all these years later after abandonment. I've hopped up on top of the bridge. There's these big perforated metal barriers. It really doesn't come up well on camera, but there is a massive long train going over a big wooden trestle bridge. And there is a locomotive. Oh, it's so bad. The harsh overhead lighting is just ruining this, but yeah, similar thing on this side. See what I mean? There's like a trestle bridge. There's like that little emergency area to run away if the train's coming. Anyway, back to the main video. We've now entered an area with a plethora of tree houses. There's one down there, two there, and then there's another one down here. That's looking towards Wodonga, and this is looking towards Cudgewa. The railway track now goes off its original alignment just slightly because they built a new sports court here, obviously sometime after closure, and the path just goes around it, but the train track would have once chopped right through the sports court.
Lesson learnt.
We are right here.
We have made our way to the town of Tallangatta, population roughly 1,400 people-ish. We're actually in the railway precinct of Tallangatta. You can see the remains of the old platform and the old goods shed beyond. But before looking at that, we're going to have a look around the town and grab a bite to eat. Railway, a horsey business.
Riders.
We have a water station, we have a bike repair station, we have a map, we have a chair, we have a bin, we've got it all.
And that's, yeah.
About Tallangatta. Welcome to Tallangatta, where stunning views, small town charm and quirky history all come together in the picturesque Lake Huon region. Sitting pretty next to Lake Huon... There's a car coming past. No, I don't even care. Sitting pretty next to Lake Huon, Tallangatta was physically moved. Okay, there is a car. I'm just going to wait. In fact, it's a giant prime mover. It's a prime mover. Shh. Shh. Ah! Sitting pretty next to Lake Huon, Tallangatta was physically moved when the Huon Weir was expanded in the 1950s. Laden with historic streetscapes and endless water activities, it's a great place to unwind.
Lesson learnt.
Right here we have a historic old settler's house. Lord's Hut, open for inspection. Why is there always cars coming past? The signpost for this place has been knocked down. The photos speak 1,000 words, don't they? Originally thought to be built in the period 1850 to 1860, but may have been built in 1880 when Fred settled on the land at Yabba. The current condition of this place, vandals have just gone absolutely ape, even in a small town like this. They went bananas, smashed all the windows. I don't know if they got in and like trashed the place, but yeah, it's just a real shame. I love this sign advertising asbestos containing cement sheets. That looks like an old gold pan. Points of interest. Well, that's ominous. Peek into this window. Once upon a time that door was open and you could come into this little cage and sort of be more immersed in the cottage, but unfortunately the Eshays ruined it for everyone. They even killed her. There used to be volunteers that looked after this place. I don't know what's happening, but it's just in shambles at the moment. Whoa, there's like a Tirana. Make that 2, make that 3. Oh my gosh, absolutely incredible. This is the Sandy the Warhorse statue, and it commemorates Sandy the Warhorse, who was the only horse to go to World War I and come back. You know how there's footage after wars of them just dumping jeeps and planes into the ocean? Unfortunately, when horses were our mode of transport, they were also left behind, filling the gaps. Sandy was born locally. So, very historic horse. So the statue was erected about a year ago.
Historical.
We have a railway related bin surround. See a trestle bridge there. Locomotive. A shop.
Incredible.
Always love stopping by this museum window to have a look at these photos. The reflections are abominable, but I'm just doing my best here. Have a look. Moving the town to its current site in the 50s. Storm clouds over Old Town, sunshine over the new. Coming up, again, sorry about the poopy reflections, but I'm just doing the best I can here. Just trying to document stuff about Sandy the Warhorse.
that sort of thing, that sort of theme, which is makes it very quite interesting.
Absolutely incredible.
Visit Lord's Hut, been there, done that. Here's some more photos. Old-timey people in old-timey fashion. Just gonna gloss on past. A very old Tallangatta. Here's some photos from the old town, which is all now underwater, and none of these structures remain today. Here's a photo of Old Tallangatta being flooded in 1917, and just a few years later, in 1928, it was flooded again.
That's what I'm all about, local history and all that stuff.
Ancient Mazda 323. Tallangatta takeaway. Popped over to 90s fish and chips. We got the greasy goods. This is what we're dealing with. Gigantic loaded fries, piece of flake, some pineapple fritters, and a dim sum. The owners are absolute alphas and just came out and gave us another dim sum. Look at the size of this thing. This has now turned into a mukbang video.
Sorry, I'm completely knackered.
Takeaway complete. I am so full. It probably wasn't the best idea to eat that amount of food on a bike ride. Anyway, quick toilet break and let's head off. We're losing daylight and we're staying in the area. So what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna film the railway precinct a separate day, and I'm gonna slot the footage in now. Here is the remains of the passenger platform. Here's the old sort of train track area, and as you can see, we have a sign. Bullock Dray in the Upper Murray. Before the Cudgewa branch line was built, bullock drays would take days to travel from the Upper Murray to Wodonga, averaging 20 miles per day. I'm wondering if this hole here used to have little levery thingamybobbies that would have attached to a signal box. Where I'm standing right now would have been the main track that accessed the passenger platform. I am in the middle of the train track. I'm gonna get run over.
That's looking towards Wodonga.
Wodonga Station, 1890 to 1957. What you would call the Tallangatta train station now was once the Wodonga train station. When Lake Huon was expanded in 1956, the entire township of Old Tallangatta was relocated here. Thus, the train station was renamed Tallangatta. Just behind the replica Tallangatta station sign, we have concrete ruins, remnants. I reckon where I'm standing right now would be more or less where the main station building was, because here's the ramp where the passengers would have walked up. On the Wodonga end of the station, there are more foundation ruins. Could have just been a shed, could have been toilets, I'm not sure. This looks like the ruins of an old goods shed. Piece of railway track there holding up the embankment. You can still see the sort of like wooden edge, the rail where the sliding door would have once been. Trucks would have reversed up to this and they would have shoved the stuff in the back. This small shed might have just been used for mail. I'm not 100% sure. Horses are not to be left unattended. This is the crumbling remains of the old pedestrian ramp that would have directed people up into the main door of the station building and via the ticket office and onto the platform. Here we have a behind view of the railway station. I guess it's how you define behind, but this is where the cars would have accessed the station. The passengers would have walked in from the street. Walking past the Old Tallangatta train station platform, heading towards Cudgewa, but not before having a look at the other remnants down here. Main Tallangatta station platform here. Just noticed it's so hard to see, but it looks like the remains of maybe a repair pit. All I can see is there's like a slight depression in the ground, concrete with like a bolt sort of jutting out of it on that side, and there's more concrete here. Can you guys see that? The depression, and it sort of goes over there. What I'm calling the maintenance pit could have been an ash dump. I'm not 100% sure. Maintenance pit, ash dump, not sure, but it's pretty long. I'd say at least 20 meters long, and here it is, covered in grass. Just next to it is a slab of concrete. Who knows what once went there? Looking towards Wodonga, old passenger station mount here. Starting to make our way into the main goods area of the railway precinct. Not 100% sure of the yard diagram, but the main line would have been somewhere here, and there would have been other roads that went off and went to the goods shed and all over the place.
The K-class locomotive was the general purpose workhorse on the Cudgewa line for 40 years from 1922. Hauling up to 250 tons, they were suited to the hilly terrain.
J518 class steam locomotive. Train's pretty cool, but what I think is even cooler is the photo of the Tallangatta Railway Station that is now completely demolished. And you can see that little tiny goods shed that I was talking about on the end of the platform. Another super cool old sign here showing Shelley Railway Station when there was still buildings there. It's absolutely fascinating.
T413 diesel locomotive. T413 diesel locomotive.
There's a few cars parked around the goods shed today. There's obviously people in there. I believe they use it as a men's shed, and it used to be a scout hall until that group folded about 10 years ago. It's really good to see that this goods shed has somewhat of a life, because pretty much all the buildings that once peppered the Cudgewa Railway Line have now been demolished. As far as I know, it's just this goods shed, crumbling goods shed in Huon, and the old station master's house in Huon. That's all that remains. Unless you know of others, let me know. Ah, pine fresh. That's what brings the freight to Cudgewa now. But once upon a time, goods sheds all along the line used to handle the freight duties of each town. At this end of the goods shed would have been the main freight office. Main door into the freight office, guys. Terrible shot. Yeah, sort of an office. At this point in time, they've popped a little stove in there, as a little meeting room type thing.
Office view.
They've got a picture of a train going over one of the numerous trestle bridges on the Cudgewa line. There's some type of lamp there. I'm sure it's historic, but I've no clue what it is. There's a board in there that's got pictures all about the High Country Rail Trail. Maybe this is where the caretakers meet up. A new railway for a new town. In preparation for the township of Tallangatta moving to Bulga, this location, plans were prepared for the proposed railway layout. In 1955, a copy of the plans replicated right were sent to the Board of Land and Works Railway Construction Branch for review. In 2020, the plans were uncovered in a chest that had laid dormant for many years. The owner, upon realising their significance in Tallangatta's history, generously donated the plans to the community. Now standing on the loading dock, this is where the goods trains would have pulled up, opened their doors and chucked out all the stuff that would have gone in here, then plonked on the other side onto trucks. Sort of got a bit of a dock platform here, as you can see. I find it interesting that the design of this goods shed is very old school.
Maybe the building was relocated from Old Tallangatta? I don't know.
We're now looking at the goods shed from the sort of road perspective, if that makes sense. This is where the trucks would have picked up the stuff. Freight office there, and then this part of the goods shed was the actual goods shed. Tiny little hole in the wall here, just give you guys a peep. Kind of a shot, but it gives you a little bit of an idea of what it looks like in there. You can park your horse in these yards if you want, but it is a day yard only. Here's the former butter factory for Tallangatta. This replaced the old butter factory in Old Tallangatta, and this has since closed and is now being used for storage. Check out these massive old machines. Russell Allport and Co. Priority Limited, Engineering Hobart.
HV McK Priority Limited, Sunshine.
FK Poland and Co. Limited, Leicestershire, England. Yeah, it's being used for storage. I wouldn't want to sneak in here. Just give you a quick look through the window. There's an ancient television there. Looks like there's a really old Holden back there too. No trespassing. Looking towards Wodonga, got the goods shed there. We're just continuing along the line towards Cudgewa. We're approaching some remnants. I believe this would have been the foundations of a water tank that would have once been used to fill up the steam locomotives. And right next to that, we have other stuff. I believe this was a train repair pit or an ash pit. You can see the little bolt things that would have held a rail on either side, whatever it is. It's really crispy. Continuing on, we have a sign. Got a plaque here talking about turntables. Behind the sign, I do notice there's a depression. Maybe this depression was a turntable. I'm not 100% sure. It just seems a bit small to me. Continuing on further down the line. It's now part of a quarrying yard, but I'm looking at this shed here, wondering if that used to be a phosphate shed, part of the railway line, not sure. Hey! These horses just let me know that there's actually a piece of concrete in this paddock. I have no clue what that is. If you know, let me know. Going off the yard diagram, there would have been an engine shed, a turntable. There would have been like a rail motor inspection pit, a coal stage.
Incredible.
Hello, sir. Speaking of livestock, we're actually approaching the remnants of the former livestock loading platform. So behind this would have been a whole series of pens and a place where a truck could have reversed and plonked their animals into the pens. You can actually see some of the remnants. We've got the ruins of a ramp here. You can see that the concrete is textured to help prevent the animals from slipping as they were scampering up. Where I'm standing right now, once upon a time, I would have been inside of a livestock wagon, and it would have been a cacophony of noise of various animals, sheep, cows, who knows what used to get loaded here, but that was a long time ago. Continuing towards Cudgewa. Looks like we're stumbling upon the last remnant of the railway precinct. Here we have the base of a signal. I'm assuming the home signal, because if a train was seeing this, they are now entering the Tallangatta Station yards. So a home signal would make sense, but I'm not 100% sure. It could have been any kind of signal. So if you know, let me know. That seems to be all the remnants I can find. Over to you, Parsles. Okay, now we're done with the railway precinct. Let's continue the ride. Farewell, Tallangatta Railway Precinct. Isn't that right, little Sebastian? Goodbye! Onwards towards Old Tallangatta. We're coming up on the level crossing of the eastern end of Towong Street. If you look really closely in the bitumen, you can see an original rail still here all these years later. That's really awesome. Farewell, Tallangatta, continuing the journey. Looks like the telephone lines still run along the old train alignment. Old Tallangatta, 7 kilometers. There's a train coming through the level crossing. Choo-choo! Thing is, it's only got 2 wheels and it's human powered. Got the current alignment here, and it almost looks like the old alignment could have been down here. Cows, watch out! The ghost train's coming! You're in the middle of the old train track! New alignment, and look down there, we got the remnants of the old alignment. Trestle Bridge remnants. Looking towards Wodonga, looking towards most likely Mount Grunier, and a great view of Lake Hume at this time of day. Looking towards Cudgewa, and look down here, again peeking out, the old alignment. And we've actually got a historic sign here about the Tatonga siding, so have a pause, have a read.
The train's running on this piece of board.
Can you guys see it? No? How could you miss it? It's absolutely gorgeous. An old telephone pole still here.
Tom's Bistro.
Current train track here. We've got an amazing culvert right there, and we have another culvert up here.
Looking towards Wodonga.
Looking towards Cudgewa, new alignment, and you can see the cutting for the old alignment down here. And if you look closely, you can see where the track would have swept across and over the viaduct through what is now Lake Hume, which I might say looks absolutely beautiful right now. Run away! We have the current bridge over the Midamita River, built as part of the dam expansion. I believe this down here is the remnants of the previous road bridge. And over to the left, we have the former railway alignment. And at this point, there was a giant railway viaduct, and then it connected to this embankment over there. And I filmed a video of that embankment. Check it out.
Jump on board if you haven't already.
The lake is currently down a bit, so you can see some of the bridge, but when it's down even more, you can see even more of the bridge remnants. 2 parallel bridges here, railway bridge here on the left, road bridge here on the right. This is kind of sketchy, but I'm going to run out to the middle of the Murray Valley Highway, quickly document this plaque. Have a look. On this side, we've got Country Roads Board 1956, and that's when the dam was raised. So that is quite appropriate. Let's continue the railway-related adventure. Looking towards Wodonga. I just want to quickly run back just to document this. Would have had like pipes going along here, obviously still got one. Over here is like the remnants, the remains of like telephone pole kind of thing. So obviously a technician would have walked out here, scrambled up here and done whatever they needed to do. At the precipice of the eastern end of the Midamita Railway Bridge, we have this sign. Midamita River, Mida Wodonga, where reeds grow. So this is the current railway alignment, runs along the Murray Valley Highway here. What is now under the water of Lake Huon is where the viaduct was, and part of the viaduct is still visible. The submerged railway alignment hasn't been used in almost 70 years. Nearing the outskirts of Old Tallangatta, we've just got like a random ancient water tank in here. Just think it's cool because it's riveted, just shows you how old it is. Just stopped here, you can see there's a giant palm tree. Definitely an indication that there used to be buildings around here. And check this out. This plaque is located at the original Shire of Towong offices. We're now entering Old Tallangatta. We've now made our way to the Old Tallangatta lookout. Wonderful little garden here, picnic table, historic plaques. Covered that in our documentary about Tallangatta. And all over here is where the old town of Tallangatta used to be. And you can actually see foundation ruins of a building that once stood. That's the Old Tallangatta
Dairy.
The water has receded now, but most of the time, this whole old town site is completely underwater. Unless you knew, you wouldn't even know there was once a town here. As a magpie swoops me! Towong tourism, here we go. Woohoo! All right, we have like 5 minutes of daylight left. We've got to keep going. Looking towards Wodonga, looking towards Cudgewa. Starting to get pretty dark, but that's all right because we're finished today's journey here at this bridge that leads to the only remaining part of Old Tallangatta. We have major frogs. Major frogage. Just like that other bridge, we have sooty remnants underneath from all the locomotives. That's really cool to see. Don't know if you guys can even see that, with some markings up there. Something Kembla. Here's the railway track looking towards Cudgewa. Shoop, turning around, that's looking towards Wodonga. It's so quiet out here now. It's fascinating to think that once upon a time I would have been standing in the middle of a train track and it would have been horrendously loud when the train went past and blew its whistle. And I'm sure when the last train ran, this whole bridge would have been lined with railway enthusiasts documenting the last ever train to run on the Cudgewa line.